Ladies and gentlemen, I have something different for you. Very different than we normally do on this channel. Normally, we play Call of Duty, we talk about the story, we do a bunch of updates, that kind of thing. Today is a game that is not Call of Duty altogether, and I wanted to go through, give you my impressions on this game because it is a very direct crossover with Call of Duty, and you guys might enjoy it, and it's free to play. So I wanted to give you guys my overall impressions of it, and you guys can make a decision for yourself. Now in this video, I'm going to be talking about what this game is, how you can play it, and on top of that, my overall impressions of it. On my second channel, I have just some live gameplay, so if you want to check out me playing the game, getting my impressions that way, it'll be the first link down in the description. But if you don't know what this game is yet, this is the finals. So this is the finals. It is a game created by a studio called Embark Studio, who is a bunch of people who used to work at DICE. They went and made their own studio, and you can definitely see it in this game. Not only does it have a ton of inspiration from Battlefield games with the destruction of the world, which we will talk about in a minute, but on top of that, DICE's passion project, which was Mirror's Edge, you can definitely see the art design behind that game come forth in this one. Now, as far as what is the finals, it's an arena-based shooter where 4 teams of 3 face off head-to-head in a kind of utopian-style deathmatch where everyone's watching you. It's a game show, a mix between the Running Man and the Hunger Games, kind of, where you do have multiple respawns, but they are limited in a very interesting way. Now, the finals is set to be a free-to-play game, which you can definitely see once you dive into it, but what I will say is it doesn't play like a free-to-play game. Now, I had to play on mouse and keyboard because they don't currently support controller, which was a bit of a hindrance to me, but once I got used to it, it played very smoothly and very well. However, there were several bugs that we will talk about in a minute. So when you get into the finals, you're going to notice a couple of free-to-play type things. First of all, there is a battle pass, which you can unlock and is currently in the game, but on top of that, there is also a store. Now, currently, you can only buy the things in the store with in-game currency, which makes a lot of sense because it's an enclosed beta. Speaking of which, if you want to get your hands on this, you have to go to Steam and request a Steam code. They are slowly rolling them out, and I believe that there's like 10 more days or so left on this closed beta. But I will say, the game plays pretty good for closed beta. Now, if you're playing, there's 3 different types of classes you can play as. First of all, you have your light build. This includes a very specific set of weapons, ranging from a sword, dagger, SMG, and even a marksman rifle as well. Now, each class also has their own specialization, so things we can choose here are evasive dash, grappling hook, or cloaking device, and their own sets of equipment as well, which will vary based off of class. The important thing to note is that the light class has the smallest amount of health. I believe it is 150. The medium class has 250 health, has a different set of weapons and things like that. As you can see here, their options are a healing beam, which you can literally heal your team. It is very strong. A recon sense or a guardian turret. The weapons are different. As you can see here, there's a repeater, there's a pump action shotgun, a revolver, and an AK, as well as different sort of gadgets that you can use as well. And finally, we have our heavy build. The heavy build is, well, a heavy build. You move very slowly, you have less traversal options, but you can make a lot of things go boom. Your weapons can range from a thumper, flamethrower, sledgehammer, or LMG as well as your equipment being a little bit different, where you can use an RPG, barricade, and kind of slower moving items as opposed to the other classes. Now, this does create an interesting dynamic in game because based off of your team, you can choose whatever class you want. You can have a full team of light, really evasive characters, or a full team of heavy guys with a bunch more health. It changes the way that you play, and let alone the weapons that you choose. On top of that, the gadgets are very important as well, because yet have I mentioned, basically the entire map is explosive. You can destroy everything, for better or for worse.
Oh, complete team wipe for the big splash.
Now, this is just one of the things that really changes up the gameplay style within this game, because if you're going for an objective, whether you're trying to steal it from an enemy or protect it for your team, you can blow up the floor underneath it, drop it to a lower floor, change the position of it, or you can drop down from above and attack the enemies that way. There's various different options based off of the equipment that you choose, making class selection that much more important, and knowing how to play certain maps on top of that even more important as well. Now, before we dive into the kind of downsides of this game, because there are some, I first wanted to talk about how the game actually works and plays based off of the game mode and the maps themselves. First of all, the maps themselves, there are 2 different maps currently in the game. However, there's a day and night cycle on them. There is various different weather and events that happen on them. Some games, there's going to be meteors that strike the map. Other games, you're going to get low gravity. Other games, at the last couple of minutes, you're going to have increased damage, changing the way different weapons work. Very much changing the way that you actually play. On top of that, each map has a day and night cycle. You can play in the dead of night or in the sun or foggy or raining. It's very different, and just having 2 maps changes drastically based off of some of those weather conditions or the day and night cycle. And then there's how the game mode works. I think they did a bunch of really clever stuff with this. First of all, whether or not you live or die or win gunfights does matter because of the way that respawns work. If you are killed, you have a 30-second respawn delay, which is a very long time. But then if your whole team gets wiped, then you have another 30-second respawn delay that resets, which can be very detrimental. On top of that, you essentially only have 2 solo respawns where you can use a respawn token and come back after those initial 30 seconds. But on top of this, the game mode is interesting as well. It's not just based off of who gets the most kills or who doesn't die as much or anything like that. It's objective based. You first have to go to a vault and get a bundle of cash. You then bring that cash to a cash out and then have to protect it while it is deposited. The team that controls that, because yes, you can go ahead and steal an enemies, ends up getting a massive influx of cash, and that is what's going to win you the game. So it's extremely objective based, and on top of that, you're only playing with a team of 3, and there are 4 teams in a match, which adds a lot of chaos to it as well. I really like this game mode, but I'm also interested to see what they do with other game modes moving forward, if they even do. So yes, there is battle pass leveling, and yes, there is character leveling. It's hard to tell how this will actually work once the game comes out, but as you level up your character, you unlock different abilities, weapons, things like that for the various different types of characters in the game. Of course, that'll be more fleshed out upon full release, but as of right now, there's just a few different things that you can unlock. So overall, with the gameplay experience, I had a lot of fun. It's very different than Call of Duty, but at the same time feels like a really good FPS, which I really enjoy. However, there are definitely some downsides. First of all, I am playing on a really overkill rig. I have a 4090 and the game runs incredibly well on the highest settings. However, it crashes a lot for no apparent reason. I can be in the middle of the game, I could be about to win, it can be after the game. The game crashes probably every second game for me, which is of course a very big problem and very frustrating when it's not easy to get wins in this, especially when you're playing solo. It's dependent on getting a good team, and if you finally have a good team and then your game crashes, well, this is going to be your response. Okay, it's actually uncanny at this point. Whenever I get a good team, my game crashes. We were just about to win a game crashes. And if you want to actually see me play that exact game, that is the one that is over on my second channel currently, again, linked down in the description. But of course, that's a very big problem. Now, the other thing that I worry about with this game is simply the longevity of it. This is a very fun game to play for a couple of hours at a time. The games go by very quickly, taking at the most 10 minutes to play a game, and you feel rewarded when you win because it's not quite easy to do so. On top of that, they have a tournament system baked into the game, and ranked play is going to be a thing as well at launch. It's just, how is the progression and how is the longevity of the game actually going to work once it fully comes out is a big question. But needless to say, this is a lot of fun. It is free to play. If you're able to get your hands on it and access to the closed beta, I definitely recommend trying it out. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think based off of the gameplay from what you saw in this video? Also, if you'd like to see me focus on some other games on this channel other than Call of Duty and do videos like this one, also let me know down in the comments. I'm curious what you guys have to say about it. But that has been the finals. Let me know what you think. There'll probably be more gameplay over on the second channel moving forward, so check that out, link down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.